We are here at Munich at Spinner, Werkzeug Maschinen und Fabrik. They make machine tools in this building. They've just bought a brand new FPT. Let's go check it out. Wow, well this is a working workshop, so it's a little bit messy around here, but the first thing to note about FPT is they make gantry type milling machines, really high quality foundations, but what I love about them is they specialize to every one of the customer's desires. This machine, normally the bed sits flat to the ground. Instead, they asked for it to be raised up so that they didn't have to drill this beautiful floor they've got here. Instead, FPT made a 45-ton steel foundation that is just sitting on the floor. It's not even connected, but you can still make really heavy cuts in this without it vibrating, without the machine shaking itself apart. This is also done in 5 sections due to transportation, so they can actually transport the whole steel foundations. It's completely watertight. So a brand new specialism just in the foundation. So you're starting with even the most fundamental parts of the machine. FPT have changed for the customer. This is a gantry type milling machine, but it's packed full of some very interesting features. We're going to go and have a look at some very specialist elements that Spinner needed out of this machine, but a little bit later. But first, let's have a look at the business end of it. I mean, look at the size of the bed here. We're talking 8 meters in the X-axis, 5 meters in the Y, 1.5 meters in the Z. That's absolutely huge. So you can fit huge components here. And you see the kind of components that Spinner here are making. This is for a lathe. I believe it's for a certain type of lathe, and this fits 2 turrets on here. So you imagine this is for the linear guide rails. This needs to be really straight and linear to make sure that those 2 turrets are moving linear to each other and making good components. So the components that are being made here, actually, the quality of these dictate how well those machines perform when they get assembled. So these are really critical components. Machine tools are really hard to make, and also really, really big. But these are all milled. We've seen milled components before. We've even seen milled components of this size done by FPT. There's something very special about this though. Number 2, turning. So we can actually turn a component of up to 6 tons, 1 meter diameter, a maximum of 500 RPM. I mean, you still get an okay finish on aluminium, 500 RPM max even in here. But it's absolutely fantastic. You could fit a square part on one day, then stick a massive 1 meter round cast part, round part, even out of a billet, because it's got the 6-ton capacity as well. Now, there's something very, very special hiding in the corner of this machine bed. Not only can this machine do milling and turning, what's that down there? We've got a grinding wheel. So this is on the HSK 100 back end. But not only do you have to, you can't just tool change using the milling spindle to this grinding wheel. Instead, what FPT are so proud about is their TUDX, spindle changing technology. So behind this door here, we can't open it because we're in the machine. There are 3 different kinds of spindles. One is always attached, so this is the turning spindle now. There's also a milling spindle and the grinding spindle. Now the grinding spindle is just like the milling spindle in terms of its power, in terms of its torque and speed. But it's got some very special sensors, piezoelectric power sensors, and much like when you use like a really fancy grinder, centerless or a standard grinding machine, you want to see when the grinding wheel touches on, you can see that little spike when it touches on using the piezoelectric or the power sensor. The FPT spindle has these exact sensors to make grinding really easy. Not only is that interesting, is on FPT machines, all you change is the spindle end. You don't change the 5-axis head. So actually, every spindle you decide to put on there, whether it's a high power, a high torque, turning spindle like this, or even a grinding spindle, you always get the 5-axis movement as standard because it comes on the machine, either 4 or 5-axis. So grinding, you can do 3+2 on this machine, which has never been done before, I've been told, on the Siemens control. Now, before we go and look at the control, there's also a few extra little features. This is not just a milling machine with a bit of turning and a bit of grinding added on as an afterthought, a fully grinding machine. Look at this, we've got a dresser to dress your grinding wheels. On the other side here, we've got an unassuming little box, which the grinding head will offer itself up to the box. This will, it'll induce a current in what is a balancing ring, active balancing ring inside the grinding head that will measure its own balance and adjust its own weights to balance that grinding head, so that grinding wheel, so you get some really beautiful finishes. I mean, we saw there was a yellow component over there. They've been grinding, they've been testing today to get a good finish. Also, as with quite a lot of machine tools nowadays, tool setter, But this is also set for, not just for milling, for radius and diameter, but for turning tools. So you've got turning tools in different orientations. You can set up your Z and your X exactly as you need to in the orientation you want to turn in. So there's another benefit to having the 5-axis head on the turning, meaning you could turn from this side, you can face off from this side, but if this component's in the way, you can come and turn from this side as well. So there's lots of benefits to having the 5-axis head and the turning option as well. So that's it. Loads of specialist features here from FPT. And they've been developing right now on the Siemens Control 3+2 axis grinding. I've been told that's probably the first time this has been done like as standard from a machine builder. So they've been developing this feature right here at Spinner. That's brilliant. Technology is great, but how easy is it to use for an operator? That's another question. So conveyor belts all around the sides. They put some nice little T-slot blanks in here so the chips don't get stuck in. What I love though is, you see over there, we've got a camera. 1 and camera 2. We've got a third camera here, but I'm afraid that's going to come back with us when we fly home. And what it's attached to is this screen here. I've got a control, so I can actually look at if I'm machining this part, I can turn around, I can zoom in, zoom out. I can even look back at myself if I want to. So if I go, oh, hello. So this is like full, almost like a surveillance camera really. It means the operator can make it much easier for them. They don't have to stop the machine, open the doors, get in, have a look, come back out again. They can see what's happening at the machine tip without having to be there. So that's it. Siemens, really easy to use, shop mill, as standard with the grinding cycles and turning cycles included. A few extra features is 192 tools in the tool changer, which can be combined milling and turning. The grinding wheel is set. You saw that it sat in the little caddy in the back corner. But all in all, absolutely fascinating machine. Specialized here just for Spinner, exactly how they wanted to make super high productivity multitasking machine tools. We've seen everything this machine has to offer. Let's get it running.